Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 3 of February 2025. Indian companies and trade organizations are adopting a cautious approach, watching and waiting to see how the situation unfolds following US President Donald Trump's threats to impose reciprocal tariffs on Indian exports to the US. India runs a trade surplus with the US at $45 billion in calendar year 2024, according to Morgan Stanley, making it the 7th largest trade surplus among nations that have a trade surplus with the US. Some industries likely to be affected by the reciprocal tariff include automobile, auto components, steel, pharmaceuticals, and textile. India's bilateral trade with the United States is set to experience significant growth, with a target to reach $500 billion by 2030 and plans for new bilateral trade agreements. Exporters are optimistic that this will boost India's exports to the US, particularly in sectors such as technology, defense, and green energy, making Indian exports more competitive globally. ICAI has released the revised edition of the Technical Guide on Accounting for Expenditure on Corporate Social Responsibility Activities, updated in January 2025. The guide provides comprehensive guidance on the recognition, measurement, and disclosure of CSR expenditures, ensuring compliance with the legal requirements and transparency in financial reporting. It covers both cash and in-kind CSR activities, handling unspent CSR funds, and the importance of proper disclosure, making it an essential resource for chartered accountants and company management. A company that entered into an export supply agreement with its subsidiary sought informal guidance from SEBI on whether issuing equity shares against export advance is allowed under SEBI ICDR norms. SEBI clarified that Regulation 163, Subclause 3, is specific to preferential issue of shares for consideration other than cash, only in case of share swaps. Therefore, a company cannot issue equity shares against export advances, as it is an outstanding liability. The RBI has expanded the scope of permissible contracts for the sale or purchase of government securities, gold-related securities, and money market securities. Now, any contract specifically permitted by the RBI is included under the list of permissible contracts. Earlier, the permissible contracts included only spot contracts and other contracts traded on a recognized stock exchange as permissible under the SCRA rules and bylaws of such stock exchange. Post the COVID-19 pandemic, Japanese companies are eyeing India as a base as they adopt the China Plus One strategy to diversify their manufacturing and supply chains to reduce dependence on China. The strategy involves establishing production facilities in alternative countries, with India emerging as a significant beneficiary. While the sheer scale of India's domestic market is a major draw, what makes India even more compelling is its well-established business and talent networks across these regions. ICAI has released the revised edition of the FAQ on the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, updated in January 2025. This guide provides essential insights into the LLP framework, covering key amendments, LLP formation, governance, partner responsibilities, and financial disclosures. It also includes updates on compliance processes, LLP e-filing, and the transition to the MCA version 3 portal, ensuring stakeholders are well informed on the latest regulatory requirements. The GST Council is reportedly considering a reduction in tax rates on select items to stimulate consumption while maintaining revenue stability. One of the key proposals under consideration is scrapping the 12% tax slab and shifting items either to the 5% or 18% categories. This move aims to simplify the tax structure and provide a much needed boost to consumption. In a move to streamline the e-way bill system, the Goods and Services Tax Network has introduced Form ENR03, enabling unregistered dealers and persons to enroll and generate e-way bills. This new feature, effective from February 11, 2025, aims to enhance compliance and facilitate the movement of goods by businesses that do not have a GSTN. Business-to-business e-commerce firm Udaan on Monday has raised $75 million equity funding in Series G round as the firm geared up for an IPO. Udaan plans to use the funds to further enhance customer experience, deepen market penetration, strengthen strategic vendor partnerships, and bolster long-term capabilities in supply chain and credit. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has mandated investment advisors or IAs and research analysts or RAs to disclose and obtain client consent on a more detailed set of terms and conditions known as the Most Important Terms and Conditions or MITC. The MITC, a 2-page document, has been standardized by SEBI in collaboration with the respective industry standards forums for investment advisors and research analysts. It outlines critical information such as fee limits, exclusions of statutory charges, conditions for premature termination, prohibitions on assured or guaranteed returns, client risk profiling, market performance variability, associated risks, and the discretions investors must exercise before making investment decisions. German automaker Audi India has successfully navigated the supply chain disruptions that impacted the automotive industry last year and is now looking for growth with improved vehicle availability, new launches, electric vehicles, and pre-owned cars. This return to normalcy has allowed Audi to focus on its ambitious plans for the Indian market, which include deepening market penetration and increasing sales volume. Some of India's leading law firms are making a beeline for the UAE in search for a pie in the $3.5 billion legal services market. The country, which has of late emerged as a gateway to the MENA region, has positioned itself as prominent financial and logistical center for global enterprises, resulting in heightened demand for various legal services, including corporate, commercial, dispute resolution, and tax advisory practices. Tesla has finalized locations for showrooms in New Delhi and Mumbai, marking a significant step towards its entry into the Indian market. These outlets, located near major airports, will span around 5,000 square feet each and showcase imported electric vehicles. This development follows Tesla CEO Elon Musk's recent discussions with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Elon Musk-owned ICAI launched its latest flagship AI model called Grok 3 on Tuesday. With improved capabilities, Musk termed the Grok 3 as scary smart. Grok 3 is an artificial intelligence chatbot with 10 times the computational resources compared to its predecessor and remarkable reasoning abilities. Grok 3 will be available to the Premium Plus subscribers on X. Markets regulator SEBI has amended mutual fund rules, asking asset management companies to deploy the money collected from investors through new fund offers in a prescribed time limit. Additionally, the regulator has mandated disclosure of stress testing for mutual fund schemes to provide greater transparency to investors. Despite the Reserve Bank of India's recent decision to cut repo rate by 25 basis points, Corporate bond yields continue to rise due to a persistent liquidity deficit in the banking system over the past 9 months. The rise in yields is also driven by a surge in corporate bond supply as companies issue more debt to raise capital, putting upward pressure on yields. Infosys, India's second largest IT service provider, is setting up a global capability center for Lufthansa to help digital transformation of the German airlines. As part of the $30 million IT contract between the two companies, the GCC will enhance Lufthansa Group's software and product development and increase support for Lufthansa systems products for customers. The center will develop future-ready and sustainable aviation IT products and data-driven solutions, leveraging the capabilities of Infosys Topaz, an AI-first offering using generative AI technologies. SEBI has mandated NISM certification for individual registered as research analyst, a principal officer of a non-individual research analyst, individuals employed as research analysts, persons associated with research services, and in case of the research analyst being a partnership firm, the partners thereof, if any, who are engaged in providing research services under the RA Regulations 2014. This notification shall come into force from March 1st, 2025. SEBI has notified the SEBI Mutual Funds Amendment Regulations 2025. An amendment has been made to Regulation 25 relating to asset management company and its obligations. A new sub-regulation 16B has been inserted, which requires an asset management company to invest a percentage of the remuneration of employees as specified by the board in units of mutual fund schemes based on the designation or roles of the designated employees in the manner as specified by the board. The Central Board of Direct Taxes has issued Circular Number 2/2025 extending the due date for filing Form Number 56F under the Income Tax Act 1961. This extension provides relief to taxpayers and stakeholders facing challenges in timely submission of the accountant's report required under Section 10AA subsection 8 and Section 10A subsection 5 of the Act. The filing deadline for Form Number 56F for Assessment Year 2025 has been extended from the original Section 44AB deadline to March 31st, 2025. The Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Centre, an arm of the Department of Space, announced a Technology Adoption Fund worth Rs 500 crore to support early-stage space technologies developed by companies into commercially viable products. The fund will offer financial support of up to 60% of the project cost for startups and MSMEs and 40% for larger industries, with a maximum funding cap of Rs 25 crore per project. Licious, backed by Temasek Holding Pte., aims to become profitable by 2026 as it gears up for a potential IPO valuing over $2 billion. The firm is expanding into brick-and-mortar stores, enhancing delivery speed, and targeting a 30-minute delivery window to compete with quick commerce rivals. The Auditing and Assurance Standard Board of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has released the Guidance Note on Audit of Banks 2025 edition. This annual publication serves as a comprehensive resource for auditors conducting statutory audit of banks and their branches. Walmart-backed digital payments major PhonePe has commenced the process for a potential public listing in the Indian stock exchanges. While the company did not disclose the exact time frame within which it wished to finish the initial public offering formalities, it said that looking at the revenue growth and improvement in its path towards profitability, the company felt it's a good time to start preparations for an IPO. This comes after more than 2 years of PhonePe moving its headquarters from Singapore to India. Eventually, the fintech startup hived off each of its business ventures like insurance, international payments, insurance distribution, and others into separate companies as subsidiary entities under the parent firm. Alphabet Inc.'s Google is close to deciding on locations in its key market of India, where it will open its first physical retail stores outside the United States. Google counts India as a key growth market, where it has committed to investing $10 billion. It currently has only 5 physical stores, all in the United States, which sell its products such as Pixel phones, watches, and earbuds. It is aiming to mirror a retail approach that helped Apple Inc. rake in billions of dollars in the last 2 decades by showcasing its own products. Apple has 500 plus stores worldwide. The Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs has announced the implementation of an automated refund system for customs duty under Circular Number 5/2025 Customs, dated February 17, 2025. This pivotal move is part of the government's ongoing efforts to digitize and simplify customs processes. The new system, which will take effect after March 31, 2025, aims to reduce trading time and costs and is aligned with Finance Minister's goal to digitize all customs procedures by mid-2026. RBI has notified the amendment in Basel III Capital Framework norms. Now it has been decided that investments made by all India financial institutions as per their statutory mandates in long-term bonds and debentures having minimum residual maturity of 3 years at the time of investment issued by non-financial entities shall not be accounted for the purpose of the ceiling of 25% applicable to investments included under the held to maturity category. Apex bodies of company secretaries and cost accountants have urged the government to include these professionals under the definition of accountant in the Income Tax Bill 2025. The Institute of Company Secretaries of India and the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, both set up under the Acts of Parliament, have demanded that their members be treated as accountant in the bill. They come under the Corporate Affairs Ministry. Citigroup Inc.'s India unit plans to significantly boost its asset-backed securities portfolio to over $1 billion by the end of the fiscal year, to provide liquidity as domestic lenders face sluggish deposit growth. The market for such bundled securities, known as securitizations, is small but growing in the country as Indian lenders seek to improve their credit deposit ratios. The Information and Broadcasting Ministry is reviewing current laws and considering new regulations to address concerns about obscene and violent content on digital platforms. Amid rising demands for a stricter framework, the ministry plans to submit a detailed note after further examination. SEBI has proposed technology-based measures to create a secure trading environment and prevent unauthorized transactions in investors' trading and demat accounts. SEBI has proposed strengthening authentication by way of a SIM binding mechanism, one UCC, one device, one SIM, similar to that of UPI payment applications, where their UPI application recognizes SIM along with mobile device and bank account details for carrying out UPI transactions. Comments may be submitted by 11th March 2025. The government has received expressions of interest from more than 50 companies to develop an India-specific artificial intelligence foundation model, small language models, and large language models. Among them, nearly a dozen firms have shown interest in building the foundation model and large language models, while others have proposed sector-specific small language models. The Adani Group is planning to invest Rs 30,000 crore in Kerala over next 5 years. The investments include Rs 5,500 crore on expanding the operations of Trivandrum International Airport and an additional rupees 20,000 crore in investment in Vizhinjam port. Food delivery giant Swiggy on Friday announced a rupees 1,000 crore investment in its supply chain subsidiary Scoot-C following board approval. This comes after a rupees 1,600 crore infusion into Scoot-C in December, underscoring Swiggy's aggressive push into supply chain and logistics. Swiggy stated that the investment will be executed via a rights issue in one or more tranches, valuing each Scoot-C share at rupees 7,640. Real estate company Brigade Group on Friday said it will invest rupees 1,500 crore in Kerala as part of its expansion plan. The investment will help create employment opportunities of around 12,000 people over the next 5 years. Brigade Enterprises Limited, the flagship company of Brigade Group, has submitted an expression of interest at the Invest Kerala Global Summit 2025. The group proposes to set up its second World Trade Center in the state, with the first being World Trade Center Kochi. The Reserve Bank of India needs to inject at least rupees 1 lakh crore into the banking system by March end due to a liquidity deficit. Despite recent cash infusions and a rate cut, the deficit was around rupees 1.7 lakh crore. More bond purchases and swaps are anticipated to ensure effective policy transmission by lenders. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.